I wanted to ask, should colleges require ethnic and minority study classes? You know, they have all these black study classes, Mexican study, homosexual study, woman study, all kind of study. Should they be required to hold those classes?
That's a whole bunch of people put into one bucket. But if those people are part of the world, it's probably a good idea to teach about them.
Should they be required to offer them, or
To
should they be
offer
required
them,
to
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 offer
for
them,
them to graduate?
to offer them.
Oh, yes.
Why?
I mean, if they offer things like philosophy, why shouldn't they offer this, which is kind of a branch of anthropology?
Well, I think that if the students ask for it, then the university should respond.
But
Or they should offer it, and if people don't pay for it, then people will not take it because they don't care.
why? Because the kids don't know what they want.
I
So you have to
disagree.
give them what's best, and that's academic.
Well,
Academic.
I disagree that they don't know what they want. And the academics, that is academics. I teach literature.
But nothing good come from these black study classes and
You
all
don't
that
think
crap.
so? Have you ever
All it
taken one?
all it does is divide.
It's funny how this guy's show is entirely based on research done by people who study other people, but yet he sits here and pretends like learning about people and learning about their history and learning about their. But the whole thing, let's just put the whole thing in that bucket, is useless. But he has these talking points that have been fed to him through similar channels, just of a different experience.
It
Oh,
doesn't unite.
that hasn't been my
It made the
experience.
blacks and now the Mexicans feel that they are better than the whites, and whites are not allowed, and if whites are allowed in the class, they can't be honest.
I think he's mixing up a lot of different things into one bucket. Also, it's not to make people feel better or necessarily better than other people, but it's to bring the truth in a way that hasn't been coming out in the mainstream.
Why they're called racist and crap like that. That's not good, right?
I agree that that's not good, but that hasn't been my experience. I've been teaching Pan African Studies for 10 years, and the majority of my students are not black.
Well, why would he know that? And he doesn't even think about looking that up. In his head, he just watches what he sees on YouTube, and he sees a bunch of people arguing back and forth, and he imagines that everybody who is watching content that is geared towards black people or people who study in schools are all black people, and that there's no one in there sitting there thinking, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense, which is why one of the reasons I'm pretty sure that I've had people who are not black watch my channel. In fact, I know I have because I've literally had them react to me, some positive, some negative. I've even had large people react to me who are not black.
I'm teaching Pan African Studies, and the majority of my class is not black students.
What are they?
The majority is today, Latino, Chicano, and then Asian and black, or maybe what and what. White is probably the minority in most of my classes,
Right.
but the white students often are some of my best students.
That's a pretty healthy mix of students.
But what's the purpose of the class? You can't. It's not about getting a job, and it's not really learning anything. It's almost like to appease a certain race of people, because I wouldn't send my child to those kind of classes. It's just a waste of time and money.
Now, for greater context, Jesse Lee Peterson doesn't even believe in going to college. So you can tell that he's coming from the anti academia point of view. By the way, these studies are useful in several different places of work, and they're also, more importantly, very useful in politics, daily activities, law, so many different sections. It's important to know these things. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a very difficult position. Not to mention that there is also just basic curiosity.
Well, that's unfortunate because your child is going to have to take a literature class, right?
But
Or is going to have to take an activism class. So I teach literature. And so it's cross-listed with English. So I get English students and I get students from Pan-African Studies because I'm teaching literature. So in the canon is made up of, in the English canon, if you're an English major, there are only white men on that list of people who they must read and must study, and who have contributed to literature. And so when I can teach it from Pan-African Studies, because I know that these students are not getting any exposure to Richard Wright, they're not getting exposure to James Baldwin, they're not getting exposure to Alice Walker or Toni Morrison or Walter Mosley, that this is the literature that we'll study here.
I don't think most of the people in the world could argue that those writers are insignificant or have nothing to offer.
why should they know about those people?
Why not?
But what's the purpose of knowing about those people?
Well, the purpose is to open their minds to different perspectives.
But those people are not.
And to fully educate them in a way that they wouldn't have gotten previously, because it's coming from a single perspective, which is the point of education. It's why some of the most educated people read a lot, even things that some people perceive as, I think it was Steve Jobs who said this, it's like sometimes you don't understand how some things will affect you in the future, but if he had never taken the calligraphy class, which seemed useless at the time, then computers wouldn't have had nicely spaced fonts. It's Everything is not as easy as he thinks it is, where you just go one for one, which, by the way, as I said, if you're going to do politics, you're going to have to take something like that, to be honest. Again, law is another one that's probably going to require anything that has to do with humans.
They're smart.
Who?
I know that woman you keep mentioning,
Which one?
Toni Morrison. She's not a smart lady. She's like a dummy.
You think so?
She can quote. She remind me of that. What's that black woman that died that Oprah used to like a lot?
So she reminds you of another woman.
Toni Morrison.
No, that was another one.
Maya Angelou.
Yeah, Oprah used to like her a lot.
Yes.
And everybody would like applaud. Oh, she's so smart. She's so, oh my God, praise. What's her name again?
Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou, right? And Maya Angelou was so dumb. She would make poetry, so-called speeches or poetry, and the mountain jumped off the river, and the river went out in the alley.
So you don't appreciate
And my
poetry?
soul just spread out, and I'm like, what the? And then the intellectual be acting like, oh, it's so wonderful. It's just about nothing. It's so dumb.
I mean, I can understand not being a fan of poetry. I mean, poetry is very difficult to understand. I used to read some on the show that was made by a lot of black activists, of which Maya also is. But you can't call her dumb or unaccomplished. I mean, she was also an actress. She was also a public speaker, debater, whatever thing. She was a whole bunch of stuff. She wasn't just writing poetry. So calling her dumb is weird. But beyond that, isn't it weird that the same very people who are gonna mock black people for rap music and say that it's whatever, it lacks depth, or it lacks this, or it's just about the bad stuff or whatever, the very same people, if black people start engaging in poetry, whether it's poetry that has to do with activism, whether it's poetry that has to do with love, or whether it's poetry that has to do with the soul or science or whatever, then it's like, oh, they're just dumb talking about nothing. And I want you to contrast that opinion that they have about rap music with the anti-education mentality they have about general studies. Like, oh, going to school and learning these things, what's that going to do for you? But then when people are making music and making money and stuff like that, all of a sudden it's, oh, they're bringing the community down. Can't they talk about and learn things that are more positive? And it's like, what do you people want for real, though?
So I don't know why I would want my kids to listen to that kind of stuff.
Well, you know, we have all have academic freedom, and your children wouldn't have to come. But my experience has
Again, I contrast the two. Someone talking about empowerment and all these things in poetry versus their opinion on rap music. It's like, I don't want my kid listening to rap music. I don't want my kid learning about black culture. I don't want my kid learning about, it's like, what do you want your kid to do? Like, what is it that you want to do? And the answer is probably, in his point of view, nothing black.
been this. Toni Morrison, how do you qualify worth? So for us,
But
my
you should
my
get
job.
your worth from your parents and from God,
But
not
I mean,
from some Toni
no,
Morrison.
no, no. What I mean is,
The funny part is he actually cares about this issue by answering the question the way that he did. Toni Morrison was simply exploring the idea of where your worth comes from, which is a very deep philosophical question. And I think a lot of people have a hard time defining it. I mean, does it come from your work? Does it come from, as he say, God and your parents? Should you just be like, okay, my parents and God say this is my worth, so that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Do you determine it? Does your work determine it?
who's good and who's not. Like, how do you determine? I mean, that's your opinion. You're saying
Right.
she's dumb or Maya Angelou's dumb, but we can't have it both ways. For Toni Morrison, for me, both of them have recently died.
Oh, they both did? Toni did,
Toni
too?
Morrison died this year.
Amazing.
And Maya Angelou.
I hope him saying amazing was in actual amazement rather than celebrating, because that would be extremely rude.
Died
Yeah,
a couple of years ago.
Right.
So they're both, you know, they're gone on. But through their work, the world has taken notice. Pulitzer Prize, Nobel Prize.
I know, but that's,
But
that's all
what
dumb,
I'm
though.
saying is,
It's all so stupid.
What I'm saying
So let's get this down. Activism, dumb. Literature, dumb. Poetry, dumb. Being rewarded with a Nobel Prize, dumb. Being rewarded at all, dumb. So what's smart?
is those things don't tell me that her work is worth it, because I didn't know that but for the rest of the world, is it the prizes? Is it the acclaim? Is it how many languages her work has been translated into? Well, all of these things are ways for us to qualify someone's worth and someone's legitimacy.
I noticed that people with degrees are not that smart. Have you noticed that?
Is that why most countries that have universities and colleges and all of these things, is that why they're doing better than everybody else? Because everybody's just so dumb. Again, now education is dumb. At this point, it's like, okay, so this guy, again, anti-intellectual, doesn't give a damn about anything. The attack on black people is probably also born from an anti-intellectual point of view, which I get. You know, a lot of people are jealous of black people and what they can do in so many sectors.
No.
There's some that they make, you know, like PhDs, MSDs, STDs, and doctors, and they're all dumb.
STDs and PhDs are one and one? Okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be brilliant to earn a PhD.
That's for sure.
I don't have a PhD.
Good.
Right? But
That's why
and
you
I don't
have
want
common
one.
sense.
And I don't want one.
So I got to move a little faster. We run
Okay.
out of time.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
told. So I want to ask you about social justice. What's your opinion on social justice?
We need it.
Why?
I mean, just on the vague term itself, social justice is needed, because without social justice, then you have social injustice. And who the hell wants that?
Why not? Just means to balance.
How would you define social justice?
How do I define it?
Yes.
I define social justice as,
To be honest, that's a good question. Although it's asking it in a very tricky way. How would you define it? The real question is, what is social justice? How you define it, I think, is irrelevant.
economic. I define it as when in any given society, there will be injustices, right? There will
Right.
be injustices anywhere. But if I may borrow from Howard McGarry, those injustices may not be arbitrarily applied to specific groups of people and help to benefit other groups of people.
I don't know what you're saying. Are you saying that because there are a lot of black people running around want social justice, right? And they are invading white universities and they're trying to make the white people act the way that they want them to act. And right now at UCLA, I believe, they want to end the SAT test because the blacks are not smart enough to take it. They say it's the white people are smarter, so they want the white people to cut it out and dumb them down so that the blacks can get into the school. Is that social justice?
No, that's not social justice, but also the SAT, there was an independent study of the SAT exam that found that it was not that it was necessarily like culturally,
They said it was too white.
that it's economics.
So it's
Really,
saying
it's
that
more of
white-
an economy, like the questions deal with economy, and they decided that, and they want to do away with it for the entire UC system, from what I understand.
If they can't pass
I mean, I'll be honest, I can't really comment on this part because I don't actually have a clue what SAT is. I mean, I know about NBT, but NBT is how you pass matric in South Africa. Matric, by the way, if it's different in America, is how you get from high school to university.
the test, they're not willing to study and get in to a white university, why don't they just go to a black university where much is not required?
Well, my question is, why do they?
This guy here likes throwing disses. Why don't they go to a black university where much is not required? What is he talking about?
Have the SAT in the first place?
Because you have to, white people believe in earning your way, where
Do they?
black people believe in
Wait a minute.
just letting them in, right?
Wait a minute. White people believe in what?
Earning their way.
They don't earn nothing. What do you mean?
They work very hard.
Do they?
Oh, they work very hard.
You're funny. You're a spokesperson for the for the white people.
I'm a what now?
A spokesperson.
What do you mean?
You're speaking for them,
But-
which is interesting. But I
I just
can't.
know that white people work very hard and they're very good.
I think there are
at what they
hardworking
do.
people
But you don't-
across race.
I know, but you don't hear them begging and trying to.
It's funny how this sort of like kissing the foot level of worshiping white people is not only incorrect, but it's also racist. I mean everybody works hard to get into the position, but of course most people would prefer not to work as hard as they do and still get the same reward that they do or even more. So this is just a weird caricature of white people, which is probably born of his obsession with white people, which is also probably born of some kind of pay, because I've seen people expose that he gets paid by these white people in order to say this. Now, I don't know which one came first. Either he said what he said and then they started giving him money, or he started getting money and then he started saying what he said. I mean, I know that they gather these people a lot of the time and bring them to shows and then make them speak for them because they know that a certain crowd will never listen to them unless they see a black face.
Impose on other races.
Oh, really?
The way that other races are trying to do that.
I'm hearing a lot of that today.
Where?
Everywhere.
Like
Turn
where?
on
It's
the
not
news.
true, though.
What I hear, yes, I heard it all through the very last election campaigns, and I'm hearing it
But
even
it's
now.
not true, though.
It's not. What's not true?
That white people trying to impose on black people. White people trying to stay away from the blacks because they're so mean now.
Well, isn't that cute? White people are trying to stay away from the blacks. Is that true? So why is it that black people in America are some of the most mixed race people in the world? Is that due to white people staying away from black people, or is that due to white people not being able to stay away from black people? Why is it that their communities are always infiltrated by white people? Unless, of course, they get to such a place of degradation that the white people go, they're messing with themselves. We can leave them alone now. Why is it that people like you get paid to talk about black people at all times? Why is it that a whole bunch of black people get paid by white people to mess with black people? Why is it that there's white people like Nick Fuentes and others who spend their entire time talking about black people? If the white people don't care about black people and they want to stay away, why do they talk about them so much? Why do they engage so much in their community? Why do they listen to their art so much? Why do they read their art so much? Why do they copy a lot of the styles? Why do they copy a lot of the culture that black people create, including the one that sometimes they say is negative? Which also, I'm getting sick and tired of that argument. Like, if you got a problem with that, go to record labels and ask them how could they approve that type of music.
And nasty. But let me ask, do you think it's fair that the whites have to be dumbed down just to let the blacks in?
I don't think that the criteria I don't think that the SAT is a determinant of whether or not someone is intelligent or dumb.
Well, why can't they pass the test then?
I know many black folks who did. My grandmother scored perfectly on it 100 years ago.
On the white people test?
On the SAT.
But
again, in order for me to be informed, I'd have to go look at the test. I heard once from some people that some of the questions that are asked in America, when you get to like the higher grades, they start to be multiple choice. Is that true? Because that would be crazy. It's trying to make it too easy. But I don't actually know, so I'm not going to get it. The only part that's funny is that he keeps calling it the white people test.
why can't the blacks do it today? Because you don't hear them doing it today.
We do it. There's plenty of students who are doing well.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that black students are scoring well on the SATs?
No, not at all, because all blacks now that are in these white schools are there because of affirmative action, not because the blacks earned their way in there.
So what you're saying?
If it's similar to the national benchmark tests or the NBT in South Africa, then it is probably used to generally get a score so that universities can decide whether or not they will take you in the universities. It's not really a pass or fail thing. But even in that case, what he's saying is kind of, and I understand, of course, like even the IQ test has a bend towards the European culture. So it's possible that in that case, that's true too. But of course, I don't like to bite too much on ideas that I don't have a lot of understanding on, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, yeah, they can't. But, and of course, just by looking it up again, I just looked it up now. I have no deep idea. It seems like a lot of black people have passed the SATs.
Saying is that there are no black scholars who just legitimately have good grades and who score well on the SATs and they end up at Harvard or Yale?
Not in the real ones.
That's not accurate.
How will we know if they're getting in by way of affirmative action? Because they're black, not because they earn it.
But they still have to be.
Firstly, why is it any of your concern? You said degrees are stupid. You said you don't care about poetry or any of these deep topics or any of these Nobel Prizes or any of this stuff. And then all of a sudden, now it's like, how will we know if they earned their way rather than affirmative action? Bro, you are filled with contradiction. What are you talking about? Are you for or against colleges or universities? Where do you lie in all of these things? First, before we answer your question, this should be none of your business. You should be like, I don't care how they got that, because none of that is any of my concern.
Be able to compete academically. So they're not getting in because they're black. They're getting in because they meet the criteria?
No, they don't.
They have to meet the criteria.
Being black.
No, the academic criteria.
But we wouldn't know that because they get in because of affirmative action.
That's
Which again can only be a debate that can be had with someone who cares about college and doesn't think that everyone who's got a degree is stupid. How are you even having this debate with this person? She should just turn around, look at him, and ask him, Do you think that having a degree makes you smart? Do you think going to college makes you smart? Do you think being a accomplished scholar makes you smart? Do you think that matters? If he says no, then this conversation shouldn't even matter at all. It should be like completely gone statement.
That's two separate issues.
Suppose you had a black, let's say for an example, if there were a black that really studied, worked hard, took the test, SAT, and got in for that reason. When the rest of the blacks got in because they were black only, how would we know the difference?
I think
Already the question is kind of a trap. You know, affirmative action is not you get in because you're black only. I don't know to what degree this is, but I know that white women have been receiving affirmative action. And I think some people say at a higher degree than black people, it's been benefiting them at a higher degree than black people. So how do we know that they're qualified to do what they do? The idea that just because you got affirmative action doesn't mean you qualified. I mean, you still have to do the work once you get there, don't you?
that that's you.
Isn't that a good question?
I don't think so, because you keep saying black only. That's not the requirement. I just show up and I'm black and I'm in. That's
But
not
it
what gets
is.
you in. That's not true.
You have to let a certain amount of blacks in, whether they earn it or not.
That's not true.
From my understanding, they still have to hit a certain benchmark.
Yes, it is.
That's not how
I
affirmative
know for a
action
fact.
works.
I went to a graduation at Princeton a couple of times, and the blacks who graduated, I even said to them, they were trying to tell me, oh, we earned our way. I'm like, no, you didn't. You got here because you're black.
Wow, for a second, I thought he was about to say something important. And then he turns around and says what he did was he went to a bunch of black people at a graduation and trolled them. What the hell was that story?
And they were not able to convince me that they earned it, because I know that blacks get into these white universities because they're black.
So
not
what
because
Well, nobody is able to convince you to change your mind because you've got financial incentive not to change your mind.
you mean is because, so what you're saying is that they were not academically qualified?
Right.
So,
You have to lower the standards so they can get in. And then when
But
they
to
get
Princeton?
in, yeah,
and then to Princeton, then what?
after they leave Princeton.
So what happens when they get to Princeton? If they're not academically prepared,
The
and then they
teach-
end up at a Ivy League college,
Right.
then
But
what?
They just in it and they go to the next college because they're black, not because they own it.
But what happens when they get
earning
to
it.
Princeton?
Well, he can't answer that part of the question because it doesn't go well with his argument. When you get there, you still have to do the work. You still have to get the appropriate marks. You still have to you still have to prepare yourself so that when you leave, you can be employed. And of course, anyone who was not sufficiently prepared will drop out, in which his space will be filled by another person.
They just let them in and then they lower the grade, the
Oh,
standards.
you have a whole conspiracy around
No, this is a fact.
They lower the standards for black
For
students?
the black, otherwise they're gonna have rallies like those dumb Black Lives Matter people who like picket. Oh, this is too hard. This is racism. This is sexism.
I think being
I'm glad she's not an angry person because a lot of people would have already left by now. And she's got the patience to handle this type of conversation. And also, she didn't fall for the trap because there's a reason why he brought up Black Lives Matter. He ran out of arguments in this topic, so now he wants to shift to something else. But I don't think she's going to bite because she's not as emotional as most people. Oh, I have to explain this. Emotional not meaning she doesn't have emotions. Emotional meaning she's not easily angered.
it being difficult. Academic rigor is very different from racism or institutional
Right,
racism.
right.
But I have classmates that went to Yale. I have classmates that went to Harvard on their academics
I bet you if you put them
and
up
their
against
SATs,
white people
and they smashed them.
without that black stuff being there, they would fail.
No,
the black would lose.
no. These
But
women were brilliant. They were very smart, straight A, 4-point something students all the way
but
through.
you can't believe that,
Candace
knowing
Watson
that.
and Rhonda. I know them. I grew up with them.
But those your friends.
No, no, no. I
You-
grew up with
you-
them, and I
you're
see.
gonna
And even
stand up for your
today,
friends.
even today,
I'm gonna quote Tariq Nasheed on this. Don't oversell it, Jesse. You're doing good. Don't oversell it. Don't try to oversell it. This is a waste of time. Don't oversell it. We get it. You like standing up for the white people or whatever, but don't oversell it.
they're international attorneys. So my point is that it's like what you're saying is that black people have not achieved that level of
Right,
academics,
yeah.
which is false.
Why is that false?
It just simply is.
Well, how would you know? Because they're always begging for affirmative action,
No, no, no.
reparations.
I just gave you two
letters.
examples, but
I
you
know,
want to
but those
excuse
your
you
friends.
What does that have to do? I know smart people.
I would like to talk to your friends. I guarantee you, I can show you that they didn't earn it.
Oh, I can guarantee you that they have.
Okay, we have to do our guarantees another time.
I know plenty of brilliant black. So you're saying there's no such thing as a black scholar or an intelligent black person?
Right.
That's what you're saying? That's your claim?
Yes.
Well, that's why they hired him, because if a white person said that, there would be a lot of people who are outraged. But now, because it's a black person saying it, it's kind of, I guess for a lot of people, it's kind of funny and it's kind of like odd, and people do not know how to react to it. In real life, it's like, okay, so this guy is just like a bad guy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then that's your claim. We'll just agree to.
But that's a fact.
No,
and everybody
it's
know
not.
it, and just most people won't say it.
Wow.
I
Are
hear
you
it all the
including
time.
yourself in that?
No, I didn't
discussion?
go to college, thank God.
No, I just mean intelligence. Like,
But my intelligence come from a different source than the average black.
Okay, so let's do the calculation here. So he said most black people do not qualify to go to college. And of course, that means most black people then didn't go to college. And then he says he didn't go to college. So where did he get his intelligence that the black people didn't? It seems like a lot of black people didn't go to college. So that means that they know whatever he knows.
really?
Yeah.
How can you claim that?
Oh,
Then the average black person?
yes.
Where's your source? God?
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, I know he's Christian, and most black people in America are actually Christian and tend to be more religious than the white people. So that doesn't mean anything. Of course, they would also say they get their source of intelligence for God. So what he's saying is dumb as hell. In fact, if he's got a problem with people who don't get their intelligence from a source of God, then he's probably got something to say more to the other races. That's who he probably should have a problem with.
God is everywhere.
But the average black person don't believe in God.
The average black person doesn't believe in God.
Right. I want
Again, he knows better than this. He's just trying to oversell it at this point. He knows good God well that black people in America believe in God a whole lot more than a lot of the white people do. So especially the God that he's talking about, the Christian God, not spirituality, not none of that. I'm talking about the Christian God.
to ask about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
I was absolutely right earlier where he wanted to change the subject to Black Lives Matter. Isn't it weird that he already is talking about Black Lives Matter? Which, by the way, this is why he became a little bit more stubborn. Before, you saw he was arguing a little bit. But then when he noticed that he can't win the argument, he starts being less argumentative and more stubborn, which is probably a result of the fact that she is answering his questions successfully and not taking the bait.
Is a very radical, evil, agitative organization, worse than the KKK, and they were founded by some black lesbians.
What? Everything you just said was nonsense. Firstly, it wasn't a radical group by any real measure. I mean, you had some rogue people, but that doesn't count as a radical group. It definitely wasn't agitative. That doesn't even make sense. Evil doesn't make sense as well. Worse than the cake. That's so dumb. Like, considering what they actually used to stand for. Again, that's just part of the overselling. He's only saying this. This is why these people are more dangerous than the white people who say it. When Nick Fuentes says something like this, you saw how the reaction that I put from what is it, Bet David, that guy. You saw the reaction that I put up there. Like when white people say stuff like this, it's like, oh, like they can see like but then when a black guy says this stuff, that's when it's like dangerous because it can seep through unchecked, unedited, which is why there's people like me who have to comment on people like this and be like, you're not gonna get away with it just because you're black. You're not just gonna say things like this just because you're black. You're still harming the black community. Also, on average, his viewers are white. If you ever listen to him and his radio show, every I'd say 9 out of 10 people who call are white, and then you have the weird black guy who calls in and be like, "Yo, Jesse, you're right." I'm like, "What? This guy talking about?" By the way, when I was looking up Charlie Kirk and some of the evil things that he said, I remember reading, like watching the videos and then going to the comments, and there was always some person who uh suspiciously could be black who would be on the comments and say, I'm black and I actually agree with what he's saying. And then obviously, as predicted, a whole bunch of people, including white people, come in the comment, he's comment and be like, you are absolutely not black.
Lesbians.
Why do you say it like a thespian? Thespian. That was funny.
Lesbians and radical homosexuals.
Oh.
And they went out shouting, what do we want? Dead cops. Where do we want them now?
Dead cops?
And then they want peace in the blanket. And after that, other blacks started killing cops and things like that.
Although Black Lives Matter just wanted justice, it is true that, again, some rogue actors wanted violence or even, a deeper way of attacking the police. We all know a whole bunch of stuff that happens with the police, and there is obviously tension going on between different communities and police and how they operate. I mean, I don't know how many things you have to watch to understand how long the police has been agitating the black community, especially in America, hiring the very group that he was talking about, the KKK. I forgot where it was, but there's a place where they found out like a majority of the people who worked as cops there were KKK. There's still the question of, I forgot who it was, but there's a guy who was who the community believes is innocent, and that the KKK was going around doing stuff to certain children and then blamed it on this one black guy. I'll get back to that another day. And basically cops have been getting away with this for a long time. And then when cameras started to come around, then everybody started seeing it. And then when they start seeing it, they start understanding. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be anti-cop. This doesn't mean all cops are bad or any of this stuff. But you have to understand that there has to be some kind of change. We can't just be like, oh, well, Black Lives Matter happened and bye. Like, that's not how things work.
35-year-old man who spent more than half his life in prison for a murder prosecutors now say he did not commit finally walked free today. A reinvestigation by the Brooklyn District Attorney's Conviction Review Unit found that Sheldon Thomas was wrongfully arrested and convicted after being set up by police. The investigation found that officers who had a grudge against Thomas, shown here on the right, knowingly showed a witness a different Sheldon Thomas on the left so they could arrest him.
If you've ever, like myself, been down this rabbit hole of wrongful convictions, you will be surprised how many of them were based on racism, where literally there was a guy who wasn't there was a white guy who was in a relationship with his own cousin, and then when the girl got pregnant or whatever, they started blaming a black guy, and that black guy went to jail for like 20 years for assaulting that woman. use the R word instead of assault. I'm trying to replace it. Um, then there was another one where there was a judge who had who was racist basically, and the guy when he came out was like, "Oh, I've got no anger against them," which I mean, I guess it's noble, and which by the way, you have to say that you can't be like, "I'm pissed." They're gonna put you back in the cell. Um, then there was the case of obviously there's the case of who's that guy again? OJ Simpson, where some of the cops planted the evidence. Doesn't mean he's innocent or guilty. I'm just saying that they definitely planted the evidence. I don't know why on Pierce Morgan they re-talked about it again some other time. I don't remember. I think it's when he died. They re-talked about it, and that's when I first really cared about that, because then I went and watched that guy who was accused of that the whole time he's like pleading the fifth, which is not usually what cops do when they have evidence against you. By the way, that case I've seen has caught people clashing from two sides, black activists and female activists or feminists. When they come together, they clash because the females think that that's a thing. The reason why he quote unquote got off was because domestic violence is not taken that seriously, which by the way, it's like that's not a domestic violence issue. The guy, if he did it, then he killed somebody. That's not domestic violence. It's murder. Which, by the way, I would say if you're a feminist, don't hang your hat on stuff like that. I mean, you could hang your hat on murder, but don't call it domestic violence. Kind of downplays it. Because no, I'll be honest. Not a lot of people think that domestic violence is as serious as murder.
There was a woman by the name of Abdullah. I think Malene. What's her first? You ever heard of her? What's her first name?
Her name is Melina
Melina.
Abdullah.
Abdullah.
Dr. Melina Abdullah.
Yeah, such an evil woman. Why would they let a woman like that teach at a university and corrupt other black students who are coming through there with that kind of wickedness?
Well,
You ever heard of her?
I know Melina very well. She's my sister. She is.
Oh, you know her?
She's my former chair.
She's your sister?
Well, yes.
He thinks she means literally.
My sister's sister. She's my sister because.
Oh, your black sister.
My black sister.
Oh, do you associate with a woman like that?
As often as I can.
But she's so evil. Aren't you concerned?
Have you
about
met
it?
her?
She's the co-founder of Black Lives Matter.
I guess my question is, why are you calling her evil?
Because
Obviously, she's had some controversies in recent times, although this video is not necessarily from that time. But the reason why he's calling her evil is because he thinks everybody who is part of that group is worse than the KKK. So obviously, it's not even about her. Like, he's just targeting her because, I mean, what's that old saying again? You attack the weak link in the chain. That's how you break a mighty chain. And again, he's obsessed with comparing things that don't even compare even slightly.
the organization is evil, so evil produces evil and good produces good, right?
Spot on. He had to put down his iPad for that one. He had to explain that one. He was like, "Oh, I got to explain this," and then he said some vague nonsense.
Well, why?
But what's your impression of that
Evil.
organization and that
okay.
woman?
My impression of Melina, of Black Lives Matter as a whole, I think that they're doing good work. I think it's necessary. It's not for everybody. I'm not a member, so to speak, for Black Lives Matter, but I do what I can.
Are you a Christian?
I am.
And you agree with those people? Oh, Melissa,
I believe that Black Lives Matter.
do you agree with those people?
I believe Black Lives Matter.
How about with this is Black Lives Matter organization? You agree with them?
I don't know everything about the intricacies of their philosophies.
They're evil.
But I
love how she's not even taking up fully for Black Lives Matter, and he's still coming at her like, "Yo, you got to get away from this group. You got to be like that, blah, blah, blah." And then he's calling them evil, of course, because I don't even know why he's doing that. I think that's just boredom on his point.
But I have not come across any evil. I've worked with some of
What
the
do we
national
want
leadership.
pigs in the blanket? What do we want dead cops?
Well,
is that evil?
So I think that part of that is that's not necessarily like the leadership. That when you have a movement,
But they have to take responsibility.
they do have to take.
Well, I think it's a pretty simple question to say, like, okay, saying that you want to, do that to police, put them to death, especially since there's people of all types who are police, then, obviously that part is bad. And again, like I said, it was a different type of people who were saying that, not different from Black Lives Matter, but they're not, it wasn't the leadership, it wasn't none of that was saying it. And it wasn't well, not to say leadership, but the founders or any of that stuff. So he's trying to exaggerate a part of it, which, by the way, he would not do with his own. Like, I mean, there's a whole bunch of Republicans who say horrible things, but the Republican Party doesn't have to answer for it and refuses to.
Responsibility for it. But if they're asking for dead cops or pigs in a blanket, then that's a reaction from the community.
No, but formed by Black Lives Matter.
Formed by Black Lives Matter may come and they may help to galvanize these groups, but individuals are going to say what they can't be held responsible for every single individual opinion.
Is that evil?
What evil?
What are we?
I know this part kind of feels like time traveling because we've kind of already been past this area of our modern history and we're focusing on more important things right now. But, that's part of the video.
We want pigs in the blanket, dead cops, and screaming for that.
I mean, I think
is that
to
evil
ask for
to
anybody
chant that kind of stuff?
I think any murder of innocent life is evil.
So how about chanting? What do we?
I think she's answered your question. Chanting for innocent life, which is an interesting way of putting it. Chanting for anybody innocent to die is evil. There you go.
We want pigs in the blanket. What do we want? Dead cops. Is that evil?
I have never heard that chant.
Come on.
I haven't.
You have heard that.
I have never heard. I have never heard.
I'm surprised
you're
switching on me.
I'm being honest with you.
You never heard chanting in the street.
We
what
want
do
dead
we want?
cops?
Dead cops.
No, I have
in
never
New
heard
York
that.
and places like that.
I haven't.
If it's true, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
is that evil?
I think it's misguided. Evil,
Is it
no.
evil?
I don't think it's no. I don't.
Is
think
it love?
It's not love.
So it has to be evil, right?
Yeah, wishing the death of people is pretty evil. I think that anybody can easily say that. That's why even criminals outside of, in America, murder, even people who are completely guilty, they don't just get killed. They get, caged, but they don't get killed immediately. And there's a reason for that. Now, in South Africa, we got rid of the death penalty a long time ago, which is probably why that's like a cultural difference between the two countries. That in South Africa, they don't believe in killing people, even if they're 100% guilty. Because, of course, it's like, how can you be against killing people and then kill people? Now, who's going to kill the guy who killed that guy?
Maybe it's indifference.
That's evil. How about if white people would chant,
Well, let me
what
ask
do we want? Blacks in the blanket. What do we want? Dead blacks. Would
Yeah.
that be evil?
It would not be love.
Would it be evil?
Don't fall for the trap. That would be extremely evil, because that's what people are going to pull up later if they have a debate with you, that you did not say that when a person asked you if, someone chanting for dead black people is evil. It's a very simple thing. It's pretty evil to say something like that.
Wouldn't be right.
Would it be evil?
For white people to chant that they want to see black bodies dead in the street, that's pretty evil.
So when the Black Lives Matter people did it, was it evil?
Well, when black people lower ourselves to when we begin to adopt the mentalities that have already been oppressive to us, we don't need to exchange one oppression for the other. So in other words, I don't need to see dead cops to make me feel better about, or that's not going to even the playing field for the fact that police officers have killed black bodies.
Is it
for
evil
me,
when they chant?
Well, it's not just bad for her, it's bad for everybody. It's bad for everybody, at least from my perspective. Like I said, like I don't, you can't criticize people for killing people and then go and kill people. It doesn't make sense. That's why a lot of the mentality of gangs don't make sense, where they're like, oh, we, or anybody, forget gangs, of the mentality of politicians who, they lose a few people and then they go kill innocent people in another country. And then it's like, okay, well, you have to understand that out of your anger for the innocent in your country being attacked, they now want to take a few of yours. And then that's when people want people to be the bigger person right after they've done their crime.
That Black Lives Matter people.
I don't think that I wouldn't call it evil, because I
Amazing.
think that it's reactionary. I think it's mob. It is reactionary, and maybe
But
they
not
do want
evil
see.
to call for the death of cops,
I think it's misguided.
but not evil.
I mean, I hear where you want to force me into the corner.
Yep, he's very skilled at that. And yes, it is evil. It is a simple thing. You will always be cornered if you don't think that killing people is bad. Because again, then people will say, what is your morality? If you don't think killing people is bad, where does your morality stand? Like, are you against theft? Do you think theft is worse than murder? Do you think that it's fine that other people get their lives removed, but then you are against other things? Like, what are these other things that are so much more serious than getting rid of people? Which is why you should always consistently be against killing people.
No, I just
Right?
want to hear.
That's saying
I'm
that.
just asking a specific question.
But Black
Is it
Lives
evil?
Matter is more than just the people. If people are chanting and asking for dead bodies, then it doesn't have love. That's really all
When they
that I
ask for
can say.
dead cops, is
Obviously, she's being very strategic here because the headline would be, if they, cared about this conversation, it would be, she basically called Black Lives Matter evil.
that evil?
I just think it's wrong.
Is how about evil?
It's not right.
Is it
It's
evil?
not kind.
Is it evil?
It's not nice.
How about evil?
I wouldn't use that word.
So are you saying no, it's not evil?
I would say I wouldn't use that word.
You wouldn't.
You know what's funny? I've seen a lot of people come on Jesse Lee Peterson's show, and they always start off with this: I'm not going to get into the trap of answering the same question 100 times. And they always get into that trap. And this is basically what he does. And to the people who are watching him, who like him, this looks like the people are liars, which is why you should not fall into this trap. It makes you look like, okay, so this person is like a political liar. Like, they're not even gonna give their true opinion on things.
Use the word evil.
I have to know the context.
If white people were chanting, "What do we want? Dead black cops," would that
Dead
be evil?
black cops.
Would that
Well,
be
that's
evil?
very different. That's not what the Black Lives.
If they would, Black Lives Matter hate white cops.
If
So
well,
if
see-
white people were chanting, "What do we want? Dead cops," referring to the black cops, would that be evil?
Let me say this.
Oh, this is dragging on and on. She's probably going to say it at the end anyway. It's probably better to just say it now.
If in this what do you call this, hypothetical situation, that if white people have been experiencing the type of actions from the police that black folks have experienced here in this country for all this time,
Which, of course, to some degree, some poor white people have experienced biased behavior by police. I've watched several cases of white people who have also experienced very terrible run-ins with police, but they usually are part of the poorer class, people who are more likely to be addicted to drugs, prostitution, things like that.
then if they were making that chant, then it would be, it's a different world. So I don't really deal too much in hypotheticals. We have plenty of reality, so I don't know how it would respond. But I know that I have heard plenty of white groups who are chanting, who have chanted very evil things about
So it is
black
evil
people
when white people do it about blacks.
when they.
And around we go.
Let me put it like this. It is, what is the word? It is without love. And you use the word evil, but I think that is too narrow. I think it's, and this is where I talk about
narrow is the way.
like maybe complexity, that there's just more to it than to say because they said that makes them evil. It's not that simple
Yes, it is.
for me.
Again, let me just lay out what it probably looks like from the other side, which is probably that firstly, she said at one point that she didn't even hear people say that, right? So it's like in this hypothetical that is probably not true, right, from her point of view, and yet she's defending it like it actually happened, which, you know, I've definitely seen videos of them yelling that. I even know people from South Africa who, you know, was slightly happy about that, but that's got nothing to do with anything. But if it's true for the people on the other side, this looks like her dodging the question. It looks like she is aware of the videos, but she's trying to distance herself from it. And she's not calling them out, which makes her seem extremely biased, especially if you can't call out death.
It's evil. But I gotta ask you a real quick question.
And let me just say this, please, may I?
Yeah.
That Melina Abdullah is a great leader. She is a good heart, a good spirit.
She's a coward.
And I've never seen her express any cowardice towards anyone anywhere.
We tried to get on the show. She's too afraid to come on.
That's not why she's not
Coward.
here. That's not why she's
Tell her,
not
I
here.
said, you know her?
I know her.
Tell her she's a coward.
I don't need to tell her that.
Tell-
There's like 100 reasons why nobody would get on this show. I mean, surprisingly, I've seen Hebrew Israelites on the show. I've seen black activists on the show. And I think a lot of them actually like this guy for his, I guess I'm going to say a charm or whatever. Like they find him a bit funny. I'm not going to say he's not funny. He's definitely said some stuff that's funny. And he's attracted a lot of people from that point of view. Now, is he huge? No, but he definitely is known.
She knows
I
that.
said it.
Well, she'll see. Maybe she'll see it.
She's
but,
an evil, nasty
but
coward.
she's none of those things.
No, she's a coward.
But I can understand why she wouldn't
I
want to
know
come
a
and have this
coward when I see a
conversation.
coward.
She's
Dr.
already been.
Abdullah Melina
Yeah.
is a coward.
Well, that's your opinion on it. She
Okay.
may say the same about you.
You know what's funny? It's possible, since she knows this woman, that they were trying to do some kind of test run of if they bring one of their own on their show to see how she's going to be treated and to see if she can handle it. And then maybe the other people were going to come. I've definitely seen this before happen on other shows where they bring someone who's thicker skinned, I guess, someone who is going to come in and test it, and then they bring in the others when they realize, like, okay, you can be sort of fine and be on that show. But, you know, the way he's acting right now, good luck trying to get any of them on the show.
But I face her anytime,
That's not-
anywhere, in the
cowardice-
how, anytime.
But cowardice is not necessarily just being able to sit and have a conversation. That's
But
not
she
the
doesn't
intent.
even.
Cowardice is throwing your entire race under the bus so that you can make money. Cowardice is saying that group of white people who went around doing horrible things to black people in the early years, that those people are comparable to any group really today. The cowardice is 90% of stuff this guy says is born out of cowardice, because he knows that he's not going to be a standout if he talks for black people. And so he wants to stand out, there's a lot of them. They want to stand out by attacking black people, which Candace Owens is definitely one of them. But she realized, like, okay, I've moved on from that now. I can't just talk about being black. And she's moved on to just being I guess like a troll online.
Have the
extent of it.
nerve to do that.
Well, maybe she doesn't have the desire.
When it is, you have to agree with her for her to come in, right? If you don't
don't
agree
know.
with her, she doesn't have. But I got to ask you this.
Okay.
when will the social justice warrior people know that enough is enough? When they say, okay, white people, y'all have given us all that we want.
Well, I guess it's in the name. When society is just, that seems like the simple answer to that question. It's like asking, when will the police stop arresting people? When people stop committing crimes? When will the doctor stop giving treatments to people? When everybody is healthy?
We are now equal. What will have to happen for them to know
That's
that?
a good question. I don't know what we know, and I talk about this all the time in my class. How do you know when you achieve justice?
It's not a good question. It's a self-answering question, and it's very obvious. It's when you achieve justice, which again means you will always need some people looking at social justice, because it will never be as just as, like, okay, everything is 100% equal on any point of view, which is why social justice isn't just about race, but on multiple fronts there will still need to be people, checking and fixing things.
Right.
It's very subjective, it's individual. Some people may feel that justice has already been served. Some people feel that there's nothing left to fight for. But I think that when we know,
If black people
we'll know.
were raised by good parents, they had a father and a mother in the home who were good examples, who taught them to work, to be responsible, to treat others as they treat themselves, would they be crying social justice stuff?
They'd probably be crying more, because the greater community would be trying to break those families apart so that it'd be easier for them to take over.
yeah, I think it's important. I
would-
think that this
they
is
would
what
still be doing
America.
it?
This is what America is. No, America is about. It is founded on revolution. It's founded on rebellion.
But not against, if white people founded this country, right, and created the greatest country in the world.
Okay, so this fetishization of the white people now is starting to get disgusting.
They didn't mean for the blacks to be carrying on like this.
I know. That's what's so great about it.
He definitely didn't expect that type of response. And yes, it is great that black people can do just about anything in America at this point, compared to what they could do when they were quote unquote designing America, which, by the way, there's still a lot of ideas from the Native Americans, there's still a lot of ideas from the African Americans, and built the community, and Africans and people from around the world. That's why they use words that come from different places around the world, and that's why they have pyramids and their money and all this other stupid stuff.
But
Because-
but they're so destructive. Black
because
people,
the
have
plan-
you noticed that black people only purpose on life is to destroy and not to build? They destroy neighborhoods, they destroy families, they destroy white people. You could let them into a decent neighborhood, they'll destroy it. You let them into a decent white university, they destroy it.
Yeah, I wonder why that woman didn't want to come on the show. Black people's only role is to destroy. Why would that woman not want to come on this guy's show? What is it about this guy that would make her not want to engage with him?
You let them on your job, they destroy it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
I do not.
Yes, you
I have
do.
no clue what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
I know you know. We're going to have coffee because you know.
I have no clue what you mean.
So I got to put you on the hot seat.
Okay,
All right, and what I need you to do is answer these questions
I'll do my best.
quickly for me.
I'll
all
do
right?
my best.
Because of that. So this is
Finally, it's the end. This guy has been trolling the entire time. Even I was starting to get a little angry.
was Jesus black, white, or brown? Quickly.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Fair answer, but given where he lived, it's between black or brown.
Should women support Islam?
Yes.
Who should be put first in America, illegals or black Americans?
I take C.
I didn't have a C.
I'm
These questions are specially designed not to be answered.
I'm offering C.
Who
Well,
should be put first in America? Illegal aliens or black people?
Put first?
Black Americans, yes.
Illegal aliens or black people?
Yes.
Black Americans, obviously.
I don't understand that question.
No, you are a professor.
What do you mean put first?
You're a scholar.
In whose,
Who should be put first? Illegal aliens or black people?
as far as justice?
Who should be put first in America? Illegal aliens or black people?
Black people.
Do you love Israel?
I don't know enough about Israel.
Do you love Israel?
I don't know enough about Israel.
And with the more and more the war goes on, the less people start loving it as well. But I'm glad she answered it this way, because a lot of people out there, let me not even talk about Israel.
Pornography be illegal?
Should pornography be illegal?
Probably, because it causes a lot of harm to a lot of people. But at the same time, if you believe in freedom of speech or whatever, then they can be allowed to do it. And also in countries where it's illegal, people still have access to it. Although some people say you should not allow something just because people keep doing it. The proper answer is it's probably not good for anybody, really, especially since we know human beings have been living without it for hundreds of thousands of years.
No.
Is MSNBC fake news?
I don't watch it.
Is it right for big tech to censor conservatives?
Who?
Big tech, like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all those people.
To censor.
Conservatives.
Well, given that they belong to one of the biggest parties in America, it's probably not a good idea, because there will be a pushback that is strong.
I think it's wrong for them to censor, period.
Do you love Donald Trump?
No. Yes. I love Donald Trump, the person, but I cannot, and I have love for all people, but I cannot stand his policies and him in this office.
Is he too?
Well, I don't love him, and it's because he makes himself very difficult to love.
Manly for you?
No, he's not man enough for me.
Ooh. Do women deserve more rights than men?
No.
Should we push homosexuality in schools?
Push? No. Shouldn't push sexuality on anybody anywhere.
Is God a female?
Most likely.
Oh my God, you better stand back. Lightning's gonna strike you in a minute. Are you waiting for lightning?
Well, according to some Jewish people, the Bible does not actually gender God, and God is actually made up of both male and female, which is why he can create females, because he has both the attributes, which is why he is probably a mixture of both personalities. Now, if you go back to the Sumerians, where a lot of this came from, you will see that there is a fusion of a lot of gods that came from the Sumerians, including Inanna and people like that, which some of the verses that are about creating men and then creating their counterpart females because they're lonely were suggestions made by the female gods, which is interesting because in those religions, male and female exists already within the gods, and they don't really give a real answer for why the gods are gendered.
I'm waiting for.
If I were you, I would repent before you move.
Creation, life, giving.
And my last question, if black men were men, would black women be so lost?
That's your final question? That's your question to end this all off? A jab at black people?
I don't even know how to answer that question. I have problems with certain parts of it.
The answer to the question is, if the world was more just, less people in the world would be lost. Because again, it's not just these people. Europe has a problem. Everybody's got a problem. If the world had people who cared more and cared less about, filling their stomachs first, then the whole world would be less lost.
I don't think that, I think that there are black men who are being very strong men in their families and to their homes. I know
Well, according to statistics, most of them are being strong to their family.
of one, I'm married to one. And I know they're all around me in my community. And I know of a lot of black women who are not lost, who are very much so present. So,
Well, the question is, what does he mean by lost? Lost in what way? Lost to what?
for those women who are suffering, and for those black men who are not fulfilling their duties as men, then we have work to do as a community, both of us.
So if black men were not weak, would black women be so lost?
I give the same answer. We got work to do. We all got work to do.
Now, I know, of course, she probably could be doing something else that's more productive with her time, but I appreciate that she sat down with this person. A lot of the times when some of these people sit down with these controversial people, the benefit is that someone like me, who is also in the audience, can actually see them and then gain a lot of knowledge from what they say. I mean, some of the people that she mentioned, some of them I had never even heard of. So it's good that she came on. And I actually encourage a lot of people to come on these shows because these shows are so triggering and stuff like that. Sometimes I myself, being a sucker, I check out these people and with anger, and then I see someone talking about them, and then I learn.
But I don't think that black women as a whole are lost, and I don't think that black men as a whole are weak.
Did you have fun?
I did, surprisingly, I did have fun.
Amazing.